Yurt, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to Champs on the Couch podcast. Today I am your host, Rye, OG. It doesn't matter. I go by all three of them. But welcome to the Champs on the Couch. We're going to be discussing everything boxing. We're going to be talking prospects to stars. We're going to be talking about boxing all around, from amateur, you know what I mean? But before we get into anything, we're going to be talking about today's topic is going to be what's next for Devin Haney. But before we get into anything, would you guys mind going over to Twitter and follow me? And don't forget to follow me here. Subscribe to the channel here on YouTube as well. I'll give you guys a few seconds before we jump straight into the conversation. So Devin Haney, aka the Dream, aka Lord Haney, the current king of the lightweight or 135 division, has many options he can explore as he's a network free agent, meaning he doesn't have a promotion he's signed to at the moment. He just completed his 3-fight deal with Top Rank and ESPN. A little background before we get into some of the discussion. Devin Haney, born in San Francisco, lived his early life in Oakland, California. Him and his father/trainer moved to Vegas at the age of 14 for better life and also to focus on his boxing career. Turning pro at the age of 16, a lot of Haney's early fights were held in Mexico at the time just because he was too young for the Olympics, and the states wanted him to get more experience before granting him his license. But on June 24th, 2017, Devin made his United States debut, beating Angel Espirito in good fashion with a knockout in round 5. Throughout the years to become undisputed, he's upped his competition every time, with notable names like Gamboa winning by unanimous decision, Jorge Linares, the same, winning by unanimous decision, and Jojo Diaz, unanimous decision. George Kambosos twice, the unanimous decision. The most recent fight against the number one former pound for pound Vasily Lomachenko. Devin Haney is currently 30-0 with 15 wins coming by way of knockout. The past 2 weekends, we've seen literally 2 potential opponents in Teofimo Lopez, former unified champion at 135 and current WBO champion at 140, who just beat former undisputed champion Josh Taylor. But still, we don't have an official word on Teofimo because, after his fight, he did say that he was retiring, and he did notify the WBO and let them know that he was relinquishing his title. But until then, we really won't know because, there's new talk about that every day on Twitter, so we won't know. Coming up next on our list for the 140 division, that's just in case Devin decides to move up. We also have two-time champion in Regis Prograis, currently the WBC champion at 140, beat Zarilla this past weekend with some saying is a disappointing performance. Me, personally, styles make fights, I've seen Zarilla perform in the past. I believe he fought Dakota Linger. I think it was on ESPN. But he looked totally different fighter. Maybe that they switched up the game plan. Many do say that he did have a new trainer in his corner, so that could be the thing. But in my opinion, I honestly thought that Zarilla won. I honestly thought Zarilla beat Prograis on points. Prograis, he couldn't find a way to get on the inside, and work like how he normally does, how we normally see Prograis and Prograis fashion, Other notable names in the 140 division, that's just in case if Devin moves up because, like I said, everybody knows that Devin Haney is too big for 135. We have the current champion holding the WBA belt in Rolando Rolly Romero. Last fight was a couple weeks ago, and some would say a premature stoppage against Ismael Barroso when a cherry pick going wrong. This isn't the first controversial win that we've actually seen Rolly in, as he's had one against Jackson Marinez. But many know, Rolly's most notable known is for his loss against Tank Davis. You know what I mean? But last but not least, at the 140 division, we have who many believe is the boogeyman of the division, is the IBF champion at the 140. Obviously, is Subriel Matias. You know what I mean? And to be honest, I think that's a good fight for Devin. You know what I mean? So let's jump back down to 135, man. There's a lot of opposition for Devin. There's a plethora of them. The first name, which obviously I guess we can just go ahead and say it, is Gervonta Tank Davis. You know what I mean? Who many regard as the best in the division with his amazing punch power. I don't know why I'm stumbling over my words, but people believe that he's too much for Devin. But honestly, in my opinion, I honestly think that Gervonta Davis hasn't fought the opposition, that Devin has. When we bring up the JoJo Diaz's, the Lomachenkos, you know what I mean? But I mean, we all know that, MPS, Mayweather Protection Services, you know what I mean? Tank hasn't fought anyone with the ring IQ, footwork, jab, and overall ability as Devin Haney. You know what I mean? But that'll be the fight that's the most lucrative. You know what I mean? I guess next on the list, we can go with Shakur Stevenson, which would be the most tactical fight on the list. That's just in case, Devin decides, hey, let me just stay down at 135. But Shakur just moved up to the division as he had his debut against Yoshino, who I would like to describe as my local hibachi chef. But nonetheless, Shakur is a 2-division champ, winning his first belt at featherweight, which was a WBO, moving up to super featherweight and becoming unified WBC and WBO champion, while also obtaining the Ring magazine, the coveted Ring magazine at that, you know what I mean? Shakur in Top Rank, we all know that they're doing everything that they can to build the fight really between the two, which realistically I see it happening at 147. I think fighting at 135 just gives all the advantage to Shakur. Last but not least, we got a rematch, man. We got a rematch between Devin and Lomachenko, with many of the public believing it was a robbery between the two. As I've stated earlier, former #1 pound-for-pound greatest amateur boxer to walk the earth. This would be, in my opinion, the second most lucrative fight on the table for Haney. Loma is a future Hall of Famer, and with all about legacy and fights, as Devin would say, you know what I mean? I think a second fight would cement his legacy at the 135 division. No matter what decision, though, that Devin makes, we all do know that the casual fans will not let up. They're going to always say that Devin ducked someone. Personally, I like to see Devin against Regis. I don't want to see Devin against Tank right now because I feel like Tank is going to try to give Devin a rehydration clause. So we can't, we can't go for that right now. If he can get T.O. to come out of retirement, you know what I mean, then that'll be a good one as well. Because if T.O. is truly retired, then that means that the WBO title currently will be vacated. So that means Haney could use his status, move up, and fight for the vacated title. So that's why I say, like, it's really a lot of things that Devin Haney could do. So whichever decision he makes, I'll be satisfied with it. I know some of the casual fans won't be, but I'll be satisfied into whatever decision he makes. I say two notable names that I think that didn't really just make the list. You got Frank Ghost Martin, who's managed by Earl Spence. Frank fights at 135. He just got done beating Michelle Rivera in a spectacular performance. So I think he could make a title defense against Frank Ghost Martin, or he could also go up and fight Arnold Barboza at 140 for the vacated title. All right, guys. That's the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the first episode. In the comments, reply with who you want to see Devin the Dream Haney fight next, or Lord Haney. Don't forget to subscribe and follow me on Twitter. With that being said, this is Champs on the Couch. Peace. Holla at y'all later, man.